This is another episode of the Rewind Podcast. If you're not familiar with the podcast, man, we everywhere. We on every platform you get your podcast. You can watch the video on YouTube. Appreciate everybody checking out the last couple of episodes. Last week, I had my brother DJ Killer Kev. We reviewed T.I.'s trap music. Definitely check out that episode. We did Biggie Smalls with my boy Kel Vicious. Very first episode, Dr. Dre the Chronic with my boy Big Hunt and my brother Maine. So definitely check out those episodes. But had to give my brother Mike Wilson Cincinnati's own 513's on for this whole the
yes,
first
sir.
Reasonable Doubt. Mike, what's good?
What's going on, brother? How you been?
I'm good, man. Trying to stay safe out here in these streets.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Same here in Houston.
These rolling streets.
Same here. Yes, sir.
Give people's a little bit background about yourself, man.
Originally from the greatest city on the planet, Cincinnati, Ohio. Currently living in a suburb of Houston called Pearland, Texas, where it's real hot, always hot, stay hot. But that's about it, man. Been knowing you for a while,
For a minute.
We go back.
Way back, man. Shoot, man, let's just jump into it, man. Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt, June 25th, 1996. Mike, where were you at in 1996?
Oh, actually, 96. When this dropped, I was getting ready to transition to the great Wright State University. That was the summer of my senior year of high school. Graduating, about to come to Wright State. Just at home working, getting my mind prepared for the shenanigans that was going to take place at Wright State. So that's where I was. I actually discovered Reasonable Doubt, like on mistake, kind of. Well, let me not say mistake. God put it there for me.
Yeah.
So I actually discovered Reasonable Doubt through the song Dead President, which was, I believe, the first single that was dropped earlier that year, earlier that spring. And how I came to know about it, weird story. I had a partner of mine who was working out over at another high school in Cincinnati called Withrow High School. He hit me up earlier that day and was like, "Hey, meet me over at Withrow." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I got to catch 2 buses to meet him. Get over there. He's nowhere to be found. So I'm like, oh, man. So I waited for him for a while. So I'm like, the hell with it, I'm going home. As I start walking down like these steps, I see a black tape with no writing, no nothing on it. And so I pick it up, put it in my pocket. I'm like, all right, I'll listen to it when I get home. I didn't have a Walkman. I had a CD, a portable CD player. So I was like, nobody really fooling with tapes like that. Everybody's making that transition to CDs. So I get home, I still didn't play it. So I finally put it in a couple days later, and it was a guy on there talking and said something about Chino XL. And I was like, Chino XL? So I took it out. And the only reason I know who Chino XL was because I would always see the ad in the source.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this dude look whack. So I'm like, I ain't listening to that. And plus, at the time, I was really listening to West Coast music a lot.
Yeah.
So I really wasn't fooling with East Coast because I loved West Coast, like how the beat was. And so, even though they really wasn't talking about a whole bunch of shit, that really had me thinking, but I love the beat. So anyway, I'm like, man, I ain't listening to no damn Chino XL. So I had never listened to anything on that tape. One day, I flipped it. I was like, if Chino on this side, I was like, let me see what's on this side. So I put it on the other side and I listened. And Dead Presidents was on there. And so I'm like, oh shit, I judged Chino XL all wrong. So I'm thinking it's Chino XL. So I'm like, damn, man, I shouldn't have did dude like that. Like I should have gave him a chance. Dude, for about a month, I thought it was Chino XL because that was the only song on that side, and I kept it on repeat. Like I like rewind it back, play again, rewind back, play again. And it took this dude that I went to school with named Jason Beard to come by my house. I was like, hey, you got to hear this dude, Chino XL. He was like, all right. He was like, I've heard this stuff, but shit's whack. So I'm like, all right.
Not the new shit.
Right. I'm like, man, I don't know what you be listening to. So I play it. He was like, when you gonna put on Chino XL? I'm like, I just played it. He was like, that ain't Chino XL. I'm like, it is. Dude said at the beginning of the tape. He was like, that's Jay-Z. I'm like, man, I don't know about no Jay-Z and all that, but that's Chino. So we back and forth. So he's like, nah, that's a song called Dead President. I'm like, okay. So I do some research, ask a couple dudes that I know. They like, yeah, that's Jay. I'm like, well, I fuck with him then. Like, I like him. So I listened to that for months. And I mean months. And that summer, when June 25th, when that album dropped, and I got it, and I'm looking for, I see Dead President on the album, but it's not that version.
Right.
It's part 2.
Right.
And I listened to it, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, if I had never heard anything like this in my life. Again, I'm listening. I love the beats of West Coast music, but lyrical content, was pretty basic. Bang, bang, shoot 'em up, get broads, that shit. But to hear Hov, I'm like, he's saying some of the same things, but he's saying it in such a different way.
Yeah.
And the music behind it's what I say, it wasn't beats anymore. It wasn't rap beats. It was music.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't believe it. Like, it shook me because I'm like, I've never heard anything like this in my life. And it changed everything for me.
Man, for me, I am going into my senior year of high school. My homegirl, actually, she lives in Houston right now, Leslie. We used to work together at Oakwood Country Club. She would play the tape all the time. Listen to this. And much like you, I'm heavy West Coast. It's Dog Pound this, Death Row that. It's all that. When I ain't listening to that, I'm listening to Jodeci. That's it. Like, ain't nothing. I'm fucking with Biggie, but really it's all about anything that Dr. Dre putting his hands on. So I'm not giving it a shot. So one day I see the video for Dead Presidents. I was like, we in the break room, like, oh, here go the video for Jay-Z, Dead Presidents. Pull up in the Lexus. I'm looking, and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, this shit corny. Like, this shit whack. Like, they making a deal in the wide open. Like, that shit corny. Like, they got a silk shirt on. What type of shit is this? He a rapper with a silk shirt? Where the baggy shit at? Where this at? Like, man, I was like, man, this shit whack. I'm not fucking with this. So the whole summer I never even listened to it. We going to school one day. She leave the tape in my car. She ain't never got that tape back, my nigga. Never. To this day, she still ain't got that tape back. Nigga, never. Like, I finally gave it a shot, and it was just like, it wasn't like boom, like you. It was like a gradual thing. Like, it caught me, so I kept listening. But I wasn't fucking with it like, oh, this shit hard. I was just, back and forth to school, back and forth to work, wherever I'm going, I'm just listening to it. And it just slowly but surely, like, yo, this shit is getting better and better. So it wasn't even till, I would say, probably that following year that I was locked in. Like, yo, this nigga is official. Because at the time, like, I want to, in 96, like, these albums dropped all in 96. You had Master P with Ice Cream Man. In Cleveland, P was huge. I know he
same as Cincinnati.
Yeah. So like Bought It and all that stuff was like just getting played. Pac, All Eyes on Me, Fugees, The Score. They both dropped on the same day. You had De La Soul with The Stakes Is High. Outkast, AT Aliens dropped. Ghostface with Iron Man. Then shit, Foxy and Lil' Kim dropped their debut albums. Redman dropped Muddy Waters. So like really like throughout the summer, like it really just got lost in the mix to me. Like I never gave it a shot. It got lost in the mix. And if she didn't leave that tape in my car, I wouldn't have listened to it. and for all my and then like I remember getting Biggie Life After Death in March. And I remember I got my CD player put in my car. So I couldn't listen to it no more. So I went to the record exchange on Coventry. All my peoples in Cleveland know exactly what I'm talking about. I found Jay-Z Reasonable Doubt for $5 on CD. And that was the best purchases I've ever made, man. So yeah, 96 was a hell of a year. I was late to the game on Jay-Z. And this is fast forwarding a little bit. This is my freshman year at Wright State, your sophomore year, when the Bad Boy tour came to the Nutter Center.
Mm-hmm.
And like I can honestly remember Jay-Z and Dame openers. Hov was an opener. Like, yo, and I'm singing word for word, and everybody looking at me crazy like, who is this dude? He up there with a bulletproof vest on and a t-shirt, and Dame Dash is the hype man. No dancers, no DJ, just play the track.
Yes.
And I was going crazy, and everybody looking at me like, yo, who is this guy? But ain't nobody know who he was until he did his verse on Ain't No Nigga. And everybody knew that song, but nobody knew anything before that. And I think that shows by, this album, like, technically, it didn't do great sales-wise till many years later, till he became Hov.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I was, speaking of that concert at the Nutter Center, I was supposed to go.
You weren't there?
So 2 of my boys came up from Cincinnati. They called me, hey, we coming up for the concert. They didn't give a damn about Hov. They wanted to see Puff Daddy. So they like, yeah, we coming up for the concert. You trying to go? I'm like, nah. So they're like, what you gonna do? What you doing? I was going down to a Kappa party at NKU, Northern Kentucky University. So I'm like, nah, I'm going to a party. They were like, all right. Get all the way to NKU, there's no party. I'm like,
up here.
Everybody's in Dayton. I'm like, man, this is terrible. And then one of my boys who went to the show, like 2 days later, was like, hey, man, that dude you used to tell us about, Jay-Z, he cold. I'm like, I can't believe I missed him. But yeah, I remember that. I remember that day so vivid. But Jay was just, man, kid, I had never heard anything like it in my life. And the thing that got me about Dead Presidents, right? So we had a radio station in Cincinnati, a jazz station in the mid to late 90s called The Wave. And we usually play like contemporary jazz, like, Kenny G, David Sanborn, people like that.
Yeah.
But every now and again, they would play like people that you weren't too familiar with, your Roy Ayers, your Bob James, Joe Sample, people like that.
Yeah.
And they also play, what was his name? Lonnie Liston Smith.
Yeah.
And the song was, I think, Garden Paradise. And so I had heard that and knew what it was. So when I heard the sample for that song on Dead President, I'm like, oh, shit. I was used to hearing samples from Dre, using more funk type stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, on beats out west. So to hear a jazz sample used and a melodic beat and this dude saying what he was saying, I was like, this shit is like some next level, another planet type stuff. And it changed my view on music so much, man. That song was just something different.
Definitely. And the album starts off with Can't Not the Hustle. He got Mary J. Blige to do the hook. Now, what people gotta understand, this isn't Jay-Z right now, where he can call anybody and get them to do a feature. Mary J. Blige, she is coming off, what's the 411? My Life. Yeah. Like, she is the biggest R&B singer in the world. And she's and also what people got to realize, this is an independent album at the time. This isn't on Def Jam, where they later found Rockefeller. This is a straight Priority, wherever the hell backyard album situation they was on. So he was able, well, him and Dame were able to convince Mary to jump on this album and be the first song out the gate. So that right there, for the first time listener, should give it credibility.
Yeah, that's what did it for me. I'm thinking to myself, like, if this dude's so new, how is he getting an established artist like Mary on here? You know what I'm saying? It's just something you didn't see with cats who were new at the time coming out. They might have had their little cousin singing on the hook, or DeAndre from up the street doing the hook, but to get Mary J, I was like, shit, this is something different.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is not like, with Mary on there, it's like not like, all right, they pushing a new artist on Uptown. Hey, Mary, do us a solid. This is the family. This is the label. Like, this is outside her label. This is outside her quote unquote family. So for her to be on there, and like I was saying, like, those are one of the songs that really started catching my attention more and more when I was first listening to it. Like, yo, this Mary, like, this gotta be something. And it was one of those songs I was kept rewinding and kept fucking with. And it's like grew on me heavier and heavier. I mean, the feature of Biggie was almost like, for me, looking at it then, it was like, all right, the number one guy out of New York in rap is looking out for the up and coming guy. We would go on to later discover what their relationship was outside of music. So to be honest, I never thought so high of the Biggie feature like I did the Mary feature. I just thought, well, shoot, rappers do features all the time. So having that Mary feature for me was just like a stamp.
And that's the same for me. Like, you'd find people who would do features, rappers, hell, I do a feature, get the bag real quick, whatever. And I could probably overcharge because they're new and they want that buzz. So it was cool. I was like, cool, big on it. But that Mary, I was like, this guy is something totally different. So I 100% agree with you. The big feature, was dope. Don't get me wrong. But the Mary J feature, I was like, shit. And the way she sang it, I was like, damn. Like, that's another thing. The album has so much feeling to me.
Yeah.
Like, we had heard artists before and they rap and they may say something cool, don't get me wrong, but the feeling behind it, like it even in you as a listener, it evoked certain feelings. It made you think and try to place yourself in that situation, or dive deeper into what they were saying. And her passion of how she was singing, I'm like, man, this shit moves me. It was almost like a gospel music feeling to me. It evoked that something inside of you that I can't explain, but I 100% agree with you about that feature.
Yeah, and then you go into politics as usual. Like, on the initial listening, like it's way over my head. Like, everything he's talking about is way over my head until I got more mature and kept listening and doing reading and understanding, like, oh, okay, this is what he's talking about, because he's not talking about the stuff that we saw in our neighborhoods or we heard on other albums. We heard about the dudes on the corner hustling. Like, he's talking about being a boss hustling and talking to the underlings and dealing with the connect and stuff like that. So that is all new. Like, this is basically where the boss talk started on this album.
Yes, 100%. Because we were used to getting that, rise from, nothing to the corner boy to, I'm a step above that. Now we hear up here. Because even if you think about the intro, right? The intro of the album is that scene from Scarface.
Yeah.
And
you kidding me or what?
What? Right. And so for those familiar with that scene in Scarface, it starts out, and in my mind, I'm listening, I'm thinking, okay, Jay's painting himself as Scarface. But if you listen to the end, it says Jay-Z's gonna stick your head up your ass fast and the rabbit gets fucked. So now I'm thinking, oh shit, Jay's the man.
Yeah.
He's not placing himself in Scarface's, in Tony's position, he's here. He's the man. So I'm like, shit. So it even the intro played with my head where it's like, okay, is he saying he's about to show us how he's building up to a certain level, or is he already there? And so that's why I was like, I gotta listen to this. Like I say, even the intro gets you. It pulls you in. It's like, this is what I'm about to give you. And so we had never seen, at least I hadn't at the time, had never seen something that gives you all the parts of the game.
Yeah.
From the corner boy to the ones who didn't have anything, the ones who wanted to be corner boys, bosses. And then the thing that he gave you was the bad side.
Yeah.
He gave you the part that nobody ever really talked about. Everybody glorified the money, the women, the game, everything. But nobody ever told you about the shit that comes along with that.
Right.
Up to that point. So
right.
That,
for me, like, this was like the first album to give you like the movie version. Like, it was like how in Boys in the Hood you see Ricky get killed, and Menace you see Kane get killed. Like, in the other music, they never told you about this part. Like this, he tells you about that. Outside of, they're totally two different style of rappers, but outside of him and MC8,
yes,
MC8 told you the bad stuff that happened. Like, everything else prior to this, it was all, man, it's just shits and giggles. We making money over this side. We going to the club. We doing this. We having a ball. This how we getting it. Like, those are like, at that time, those are the only two artists that I can remember giving you the flip side of being a hustler.
It brought everything like into the picture. It wasn't just, we living great over here. We got money. We got broads. We got even though he did have his portions of the music that was beautiful and extravagant and opulent and all that, he still would hit you with a bar to be like, oh, hold on. Like, even like I said, my song, Dead President, that first verse, when he gives you the part where he's talking about his boy, where he says on the Uptown Hot Block, he got his side sprayed up, and that section right there is probably what made me think the most about just everything. Because he says, on the Uptown Hot Block, he got his side sprayed up. I saw his life slipping. That's a minor setback. But yet and all, we still live. Just dream about the get back. So he's having a conversation with his boy who's in the hospital. Dream about the get back. He said, just dream about the get back. That made him smile. Though his eyes said, pray for me. I'll do you one better and slay these niggas faithfully.
Murder is a tough thing to digest. It's a slow process. And I ain't got nothing but time.
That section of that verse was something I had never seen. Because if you even think about the brief part within that verse where he says, pray for me. I'll do you one better and slay these niggas faithfully. The play on pray and faith, like the whole religious aspect that ties together there. And even when he goes and he says, murder is a tough thing to digest. It's a slow process. And I ain't got nothing but time. He plays on time again. Yeah. Meaning he can get it done. It may take a minute, whatever. But also time in, I ain't got nothing but time. Though, even if he did it, all he'll get is time in jail. So it's like he's playing with your mind, and he's flirting with double entendres a lot. And that was one thing that I was like, in rap music at the time, I really never heard so much.
Right.
The double entendre. And it was like, dude, I was like on the Evils, the biggest double entendre that stood out to me first was throughout my junior high years, it was all friendly. But now this higher learning got the Remy.
Liquor made my kidney. Remy? Higher learning?
Yes. I was like,
Remy?
Damn. It was like all those things. And the great thing about Reasonable Doubt is, even throughout time, I still pick up stuff when I listen to it. Because it was just maybe 3 or 4 years ago when I even learned like the CBS line. So we keep one eye open like CBS. Like when I initially heard it, yeah, CBS, the logo for CBS looks like an eye. But CBS, like see the bullshit. CBS. So I was like,
I just learned that right now.
you was today years old when you learned it?
Your facts. I didn't even think of that part.
Right. So I was like, oh shit. Like it hit me one day. I was like, oh shit. And I was like, I'm still learning from this album. Man,
this boy,
Kev, it's something different.
That boy a monster. Like lyrically, the way he weaves the shit back and forth, like you said, with the double entendres, and something about Jay-Z's flow. So after like I become a total fan of Jay-Z, I go back. So I like, all right, the original Flavor stuff, the I Got You, all these other songs, and I'm like, yo, the flow here is very Daz Effects with the and everything like that. So I'm like, so this guy has changed his style, slowed it down to what we get now. And then I think back to Biggie about his flow on Dolly My Baby. He's fast. He's a fast-paced rap as well. And he became a superstar once he slowed his flow down a little bit. But then when I did the rewind on the Biggie, it's still a little bit of speed rapping in there, a little bit of tongue twisting going on there. And I heard the same thing on this album. Especially like I will probably say on 22 Twos, gets a rap going on. And like obviously that style is come and gone, but at that time, that was still like dudes that were able to do it, but they're able to do it clearly. You were able to understand every single word, every single syllable. That's what makes it dope still. If you can still perfect that and still spit those rhymes without it sounding like garbage.
Right, exactly. And so even for the fast spitters that have come and gone over the years, like the Twisters, the Bones, shout out to Bone, you know, people like that, it was dope because you could, you could go and I think people were enamored with that style because it was something that not a lot of people could do, you know? So it's like, oh, that's dope. It's like anything that you see other people that they can do something that you can't, you're like, cool. But then you start thinking, okay, what are you talking about?
Right.
You know, so
it becomes like a gimmick.
Right, exactly, 100%. It becomes real gimmicky, and like all gimmicks, they
crucial conflict
fade away. Crucial. Chi-Town zone. And so
no disrespect.
Right. And so, you know, for those fast spitters, it was like once you like really start trying to pick apart and learn and see what they were saying, wasn't saying shit really.
Right.
But for those that could do like Jay was doing, like da-da-da-da-da-da, it was like, okay, cool. Because I'm like you, I went back and started listening to old stuff, and I'm like, okay.
yeah. Like,
you know, but I need to understand what the hell you're talking about.
Definitely.
That was it.
For me, the Evils.
Oh.
I mean, I'm a jump a little bit. That's my favorite, not only favorite song on the album, but I think that's my favorite Jay-Z song of all time. Like, it is something about that song. It speaks to me. It paints a perfect picture. We used to fight for building blocks. Now we fight for buildings that
fight for blocks.
Yo, like, look, and like it's on the outside looking in, it's a simple rap. Like, yeah, that ain't that hard to get, but like you think about it, like, and especially when you get older, you know, when you get older and you don't have the same relationship with friends that you from the sandbox with, because you know people grow different ways. That type speaks volumes. Like, you don't understand that until you able to see somebody that you grew up with, and all you got in common is the past. You don't have things in common going forward. Everything you got in common, the only conversations you can have is about the past. It's not about, hey man, what you got going on? Hey, how's the fam? Hey, da-da-da-da. Did you do this? Did you do that? Everything's about, hey, remember that time? Hey, remember that time? Hey, remember that time? It's only, you only get so many, hey, you remember that time, so the conversation is over. So that line for me, it speaks different because I was never a hustler or anything like that, but that line speaks to me so vividly as an adult.
Yes, that song And my favorite verse in that song is the second verse, where we say, he never learned, so in turn I'm kidnapping his baby's mother. My hand around the collar, feeding the cheese. You know, like that whole thing. And if you pay attention in that verse with the titles, the evils, put together, devils, it shows the transition. The big takeaway for me in that song is the transition of guilt, power, everything that comes along with it. Because at the end of that verse, he said, I'll take away your miseries and make it mine, the evils. Like he's talking about trying to find old boy, you know, and the transference of the pain and all that shit from what he's doing, you know, not just what he's doing, but from him doing certain shit she's worried about, she's telling on dude, he's going to take care of dude, and now he has to burden himself with that shit because something he did. And so when he ends that verse, one day I'll take away your miseries and make it mine, the evils. And when he ended that verse, I was like, wow. Like it just takes you, and it's just so much. And that's one of those songs that shows you everything that the game entails. And he talks about the negative side of it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, again, Kev, that I had never heard anybody word like that and hit on that. So the Evils is probably my second favorite Jay song of all time, behind Dead Presidents 2. The Evils, the beat, oh my God.
Primo.
Oh my God. Houston's own.
Absolutely. I mean, you got the samples in there from Mobb Deep. You got the sample from Snoop, and it's just like, man, like that beat is flawless.
And especially in that time when West Coast was still doing its thing.
Yeah.
And to have Snoop on that sample, because that song, the original song with Snoop, was fire.
Yeah.
And so to sample that, I was just like, oh my God. And then the Mobb Deep portion, you know, I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I was like
it's just something about Primo that he, you know, that saying that I like Swiss beats because they come with a hook. Primo's got the same shit because he's gonna find that one clip that you're talking about, make that small clip from some random song, and put it in your song. Like, well, shit, there go the hook right there.
That's the hook. Like Primo beats, you don't really need a hook. He's gonna build the hook in for you.
Yeah.
With that sample, and that was, I mean, it was so perfect, dude. It was so perfect. Oh my God. But yeah, the Evils, it was another one of those songs. That was another one on there that I was just like, man, it can't get any better.
Yeah.
Like, I think of certain rap songs that I'm like, that's the perfect song. Perfect beat, perfect bars, perfect, you know, voice and flow on it. And that's one of them ones in hip hop where I'm like, that's just the perfect song.
Yeah, we talked about 22 Twos a little bit, but I will say, like, a lot of the albums like that I got coming up, I've already previewed them, and some of the stuff sounds dated, and it takes you back to a certain place in time. For me, on this album, it doesn't take me back to a place in time where I was when I listened to it. I'm always really in the now because the album is so good. The only things that on this album that seem dated to me are on 22 Twos. And it's not the song, it's the slang. It's the slang terms that are used in it that make it seem dated. Everything he's talking about is still dope. You know, we talked about the fast paced rap. He has a couple of those in there, but like, you know, the Maria, the Wednesdays and all that type of stuff. Like it seems out of place now, but at the time it flowed perfectly. So that's the only song that I say takes me back to like, all right, man, this is a certain place in time that this song was created, but it's still a dope record.
Yeah, it was cool. I thinking back on it now, looking back, it doesn't flow well to me. Like that song and the placement of the song. Back then, I was like, "Oh shit, this is amazing."
Yeah.
You know, the keep the two. You know, it was cool. But like you said, the whole Maria Davis, Mad Wednesdays, you know, the whole thing. It puts you. It almost that whole concept almost boxes you in to a time frame, and it's like I have to take my mind back to when that was hot. You know.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So that one is. It was cool. I liked it then. It's cool now. I don't hate it. There's actually only one song on the album I hate, but
I think we probably on the same page when we get to that song. Normally I've been hitting them out the park with the songs that people ain't feeling. But on the 22 twos, it's if you go, fun fact, when we were in New York for your wedding that weekend, Hove had the B-Sides concert, and
yes, he did.
You can find the B-Sides live version of 22 twos, and it's crazy. It's way better than the one on the album. It's crazy. Like, yo, you need to put that out because that shit is fire. That shit bang.
Yes, 100%.
That shit bang.
Now, what I will say about 22 twos, what was the opening line? Too much West Coast dick licking. Like that, at that moment when shit was going on in rap, I was like, damn, okay. Like, we just gonna jump out there with that, huh? Like, there was no, let me ease into it. It was just like, out the gate, boom. I'm gonna make this statement, and that's gonna be it. But other than that, it's a cool song. It's a cool song.
Yeah.
I don't hate it again. I don't think it's like overly the greatest whole thing ever. Like, I've never really cared for like those those conceptual type rap songs where it's like, I'm going to show how awesome I am at doing. Like, even with, what was the one song by Papoose where he goes through the alphabet?
Yeah,
it was cool.
So you're not a fan of One Mic with Nas?
That was cool. It was all right.
I think songs like 22 Twos, Papoose with the alphabet, Nas especially with on One Mic, and what's the one he tell the story in reverse?
Oh, where he goes reverse.
Yeah,
I like that one.
I really like that. Those are dope, but those aren't songs like, oh, I gotta play right now. It's really you're really showing off your skills. Like it's a fight. It's almost like Steph Curry, like, hey, watch how many half-court shots I can hit in a row. It's like, yeah, that's cool, right. But like, all right, man, I've seen it 1,000 times, man. So that's kind of how I feel about that. So we got Can I Live? And this is, from my knowledge, like the real introduction of a Irv Gotti produced beat. You know, you had like, I'm not even sure if Mike Geronimo came before this or not, but I'm not sure, because I know like Mike Geronimo was like Irv Gotti's like first artist that he really started pushing, but nonetheless, Can I Live now has the Isaac Hayes sample, but Irv does something with that sample that's different from the million and one times we heard it before. Like he really lets the horn section go. Like most people just say boom, boom, doom, 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 boom. Just like, just all right, we just gonna chop and splice that part and loop it over. But they let the horns go. Boom.
Yes.
Boom, boom. Like you don't hear you only hear that on the Isaac Hayes version.
Yep, that's it. And when Irv did it, I was like, man, again, it played into what I was saying earlier about the music of it. It didn't seem like rap beats, you know, West Coast at the time had that driving beats, and you'd have Dre put in funk stuff, or other people in the West Coast. I don't just want to say Dre, even DJ Quick, but
Daz,
yes. And so on that song, to hear the horns be like almost like the centerpiece, it almost it sounded almost like a movie score. You felt like that, dun, dun, like it added to it. It added to that.
I would like to know. I would like to ask him, did they recreate the horns because when I re-listened to it and I listened to that, I went back and listened to the Isaac Hayes. I was like, those horns sound bigger, louder than the actual sample.
Yes.
So I don't know if they did something in the drum machine or they had somebody come replay that part, but those sound like real epic. Like you're getting something. That shit bangs. I mean,
horns.
Obviously, like to me, that's a standout part. But the lyrics, I mean, another one you can almost say is basically a flawless song to me.
But back to like the horn part of it. The horns, for me, I've always loved horns. Like I've always loved that sound. Because I'm gonna tell you, my favorite song with a horn in it, rap hip hop song, is it's the Meth song. It's off Tikal. What is that?
I know what you're talking about. Damn, I'm drawing a blank, but I know what you're talking about.
It was like those horns just it's invigorating. It gives you energy almost. But on Hoes, on Can I Live, the horns almost bring you down a little bit. And again, it's almost like a movie. It's almost like you're listening to a movie, and even a lot of times the emotion that we feel when watching a movie comes from the music.
Yeah.
Even though we don't know it, that music drives us. That the horns or the beat going fast or whatever, it gives us an emotion. Our heart starts beating fast, or it brings us down, or whatever the case may be. And on Can I Live, that shit, it was almost like you can picture him just doing whatever he was doing or saying whatever he was saying, backed by the horns.
Yeah.
So, but Can I Live? Oh my God, kid. Man.
So we get the introduction of Foxy Brown, Ain't No Nigga.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is that like the biggest song, like for the masses, but we get the intro to Foxy. We get really the intro to Jay-Z to the mainstream because it was on the Nutty Professor soundtrack. And this is something I'll never forget. In high school, study hall, niggas in there playing spades, niggas just doing whatever. And I was always like, even back then, like I was in charge of the music. Like we was in there messing around. And
At Cleveland High Tide?
You know it, them Tigers. And 9-7 state champs and hoop. Had to put that out there.
Come on.
So we in there, and my dude, Tupac fanatic. Now, at this time, Tupac had dropped Don Illuminati, Machiavelli, that album.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
On that album, obviously, got hit him up. He takes shots at Nas, Jay-Z, and everything. So he is a Tupac fanatic, and we know how the Tupac fanatics are.
Yes.
They go in. So he always said, hey, play that Pac, play that Pac, play that Pac. And one day I played that Ain't No Nigga, and he rocking with it. And it's like, hey, is that nigga Jay-Z? I was like, yeah, it's Jay-Z. He's like, nigga, that shit hard. Double that shit back. No doubt, nigga. Like, yo, he would want that shit played so much. It's like, man, I can't believe I like this shit. This shit's so hard. Like, this some shit Pac would make. Like, I never get that. And I looked at it, I was like, is it? Is it? Like, nigga, watch, nigga, at prom, nigga, I'm gonna tell the niggas to put this shit together and I get around telling that shit gonna sound hard. And to his credit, that shit does go to that shit. I get around and Ain't No Nigga goes together. That shit does go hard. So that's like one of the biggest memories I got from a Tupac fanatic was like, I give him props on this song. This shit hard. All the other bullshit you talk about, I fuck with, but this shit hard.
And I was a big Pac fan at the time. And because I'm gonna tell you, 96 when All Eyes on Me dropped. I think that was 96. I think. 96. February of 96.
February 13th, 1996.
Yep. Because I remember catching a bus to CD Connection to go buy it.
Yeah.
And at CD, real quick on a side note, at CD Connection, you could go in and listen to the CD first before you purchase it. So I go in. Dude says, I'm like, let me hear the pop. I put it on, and they used to have these huge, like, noise canceling headphones, and I put them on. And I won't deny it. And when that beat dropped, dun, 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 I turned it off. At that point, I said, "Hey, let me get that." I got it. Walked across the street. Now, mind you, I had my portable CD player. Walked across the street, because in the Natty, it was on Colerain Avenue, and across the street was a Long John Silver. Went to Long John Silver because my bus wasn't coming for about another hour. Dude, I sat there and listened to All Eyes on Me. I think I missed 2 buses on purpose. Like, just sitting there, just listening. Like, go ahead, I get the next one. But at that time, so I was a big Pac fan too at the time. But when Jay came around, that slowly started fading. But to Ain't No Nigga, hated that song. Hated. That is the one song I hated on the album. Now, there's another one that I dislike a lot, but I don't say I hate it. I hate it. Ain't No Nigga. To this day, hate that song. And so,
really?
hate it. Because I hated the beat. I hated I hated Foxy on that song. I'm like, man. And the first time I heard it, when I finally got the CD, I take it back. I hadn't listened to it yet. I had listened to majority of the album, but had never listened to Ain't No Nigga. So that summer when it's out, me and my boy Kev Key are working at his uncle's car wash. My boy spending the night at my crib every day. And we get up super early, walk to the car wash cars. On break time, we in the break room playing not Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, and on Sega Genesis, and listening to music. So there's these 2 dudes who are one was from Cleveland, one was from Youngstown. They were students at University of Cincinnati playing football, and they stayed over the summer and got a job at the car wash. One was named Moody. Moody would play Hove like unbelievably nonstop, right? One day I come in, he's playing Ain't No Nigga. He has that shit blasted in the car wash. I walk in and I'm like, man, this shit whack, man. He was like, what? So me and him are like about to argue about this. I'm like, man, this shit's trash, dude. I'm like, this ain't the real Jay-Z. Like, this some goof soundtrack radio shit. I'm like, dude, I hate this song. Like, I hated everything about, to this day. That is the one song on the album. I'm like, I wish he had put something else on there. Like, he could have burned this shit up. And I think if that would have been the first song I heard from him, I would have never been a Jay fan. I'd have been like, nah.
You know, because for how they do albums now, format, that would be the first one. They wouldn't go with their presidents first. A street record like that would not be the first song out the gate. For them to even get that song on a soundtrack to a Nutty Professor and get that shit banged out so much over the summer is kudos to Dame Dash to making that play and introducing them to the mainstream. I'm surprised that's the one you don't like. That's cool though.
Oh man,
another story song, Friend or Foe.
Ooh, man.
State your biz.
State your biz.
There it
is. Man, that, oh my God. Dude, that was like watching a movie. Mm-hmm. It was like, he progresses in the song and goes on and tells a story or whatever. And I'm just like, dude, this is some other shit. You know what I'm saying? Because at the time, I think, trying to think of a story. I mean, what's the classic? Slick Rick.
Great Adventures of Slick Rick.
Right. So at the time, I mean, when I'm thinking of story song, I'm thinking of old school Slick Rick. Of course, Big. Mm-hmm. Big was great at that.
Yeah.
But to hear this, I'm like, like, man, this dude, I just can't explain it, kid. It was movie like.
Yeah, and later on we get the visual to it for on Streets is Watching. You get the visual for it, and the visual It's perfect. I mean, it
Yes.
does exactly what the song says. It paints exactly what you thought was going to be in your head. That's another dope one. And a sleeper song, in my opinion, like, is for me is Coming of Age. We got the intro to the most loyal guy in hip hop, Memphis Bleak. Absolutely. Make it easy, money, pimping, hoes, and style. Bleak. Most loyal guy in the world, man. I love Bleak, man. Bleak is my guy. He's always going to be my guy. I don't care what anybody says. Bleak holds it down. And to another story. Like, on this rewind, I didn't know it was so many stories on here. These are a lot of story raps. Like, these aren't like braggadocious. This isn't even like what you get on the follow-up album from Jay-Z, where we could talk about this later, but I'll say it right now, where you get obviously the death of Big, and then on the next album, it's almost like, all right, all those Biggie songs, I'm gonna do them now, and it didn't work for him. This shit works for him. You get your little splash of party songs, but this street shit works for Jay-Z. But back to Coming of Age. I mean, it's just another classic story rap, and for him to look out for his young boy back home and basically just put him on. Like, I hear whenever Bleak does an interview, I'm watching, and he got a real famous interview on Drink Champs about I wasn't a rapper. I wasn't trying to rap. I was just trying to hang around the older dudes. And the fact he was like, you want to be on? He's like, yeah, memorize this. Faster you memorize it, faster you be on. So he had no intentions of being a rapper until he put that paper in his hand, literally and figuratively.
Yeah. And the line in there where he says, here's a G. And he said, what'd he say? Fucking with you, I'll ride for free. Whatever for free.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, it really paints that picture, kind of foreshadowing the loyalty that you speak of with Bleak. Like, Bleak is like you say, the most loyal dude and one of my favorite people in rap. Shit, I even went and got all Bleak shit when it dropped.
Blizzle.
And because his second CD.
Yep. The second one is dope.
Me and Jimmy, story time. Me and Jimmy. Were on spring break, about to go down to Atlanta and then drive up to North Carolina. Me and him have been bullshitting all day, not leaving out when we're supposed to leave out to get on the road, get the rental car, all that. We get the rental car. There's no CD player in the rental car. I only have a tape player. Jimmy and I go over to Fairfield Commons Mall. Go to the music spot. The legendary Fairfield Commons. And we buy 2 tapes. We're like, hey, I ain't got, because at the crib, I'm like, no damn tapes. And he was like, me either. He bought Tarantula.
Mystical.
And I bought Bleak. Dude, we played Bleak from Dayton, Ohio, all the way down 75 south to Atlanta.
Woo.
And up 95 north to North Carolina. Like, we played and kept Bleak on fucking repeat nonstop. And it was like, man, that album, that Bleak album, I hate that I can't think of the name of it off top. But even his first one I played a lot with the song Memphis Bleak is, that first album. I even played that. But Coming of Age, man, dude, like you can see them, you can visualize them in the car having a conversation, talking about whatever they want to talk about. And it was just like, damn, I don't know who, at the time, I don't know who this Memphis Bleak dude is, but I like him. And I like the back and forth between the two of them, and even moving forward to other back and forth records they've done, I'm just like, shit, man. It works. It works because I think it's genuine.
Yeah.
It's not contrived. It's not, fake or, I'm just going to put a person in here. We're going to tell a little fake story. This is a real person, real relationship. So you get that feeling.
Yeah, that Bleak album, The Understanding. Mind Right. Is That Your
Yes.
Chick? Do My Lady? Yeah,
Brother, yes.
Had some smackers on there, man.
Yeah.
So now we at the song that I never listened to when I was Cashmere Thoughts.
I hate that is the other one, Kev, because it doesn't fit to me
at all.
Because if you pay attention, it's almost like it's supposed to be like pimps having a talk, having a conversation, and I'm like, nah, I don't. Nah, pimping ain't.
I get no pimping out of this album at all.
Right.
It's kind of like how I said on the Biggie one. As much as I love the Biggie album and everything like that, what's the song? Big Papa, as great as a song it is, it stands out like a sore thumb because it doesn't match everything that's else on the album. This song doesn't match what's on the album at all. Like, he ain't never said nothing about pimping on the first, 13 songs? Well, 12 songs, and then out of nowhere, you a pimp now? Like, when did that happen? But then you get back into some rap shit.
Yes.
Bring it on if you think you can hang.
Hey, if not, let me do my thing. Yes. Oh my God, man. That was another one. Like I hated God, I hated Cashmere Thoughts. Like, I wish they could took that out and just was like, hey, nah, we ain't gonna do this. Because I've always been a fan of like the flow of an album. You know, I hate the flow to be interrupted by some BS. And so to go from Cashmere Thoughts to that, I'm like, oh shit. You know, I've always described some of my perfect and favorite albums as ones you can just put in and let ride.
Yeah.
And that
swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. That's for sure.
It was so bad. But yeah. They picked it back up with that one. They got it back going with that one.
I mean, you got Jaz-O spitting. You got Sauce Money. You know, we know Sauce Money for his pen and basically, you know, saving Bad Boy and Puff after Biggie passed away and everything like that. So, but you actually get him now on the early side, you know what I'm saying, him actually in the booth, which was dope. And then you close out the original version of the album with Regrets. And that's the one right there, like, I can in all honesty say, like, for me, like, the album back then stopped at Bring It On. Like, because like I said, a lot of this stuff was over my head. I couldn't relate to it. But like now as an adult, listening to it again, like, yo, he's spitting that real shit.
Yeah. Yes. Regrets is one of those songs that I don't care what you're doing in life, you know, whether it's hustling, whether it's, you know, working a 9-to-5 or whatever the case may be, that song can speak to you.
Yeah.
It didn't care who you were. It didn't care what you were going through, what you were dealing with, because it's almost like a universal song. Like, everyone has to deal with certain things. And it was just like, damn, man, you know, hip hop songs usually speak to a certain portion of society.
Yeah.
You know, your hustlers, your pimps, for example, your conscious people, your everyday Joe Schmo, but it never really entails or brings everybody, takes everybody into account. And this was one of those songs where it's like, damn. And it I think it's a perfect song, and it's perfectly placed on the album because it's bringing everything to a close.
Yeah.
And it's one of those subjects and topics that it's going to make you sit there and think about it. Mm-hmm. And Jay has the ability to do that with so many songs. And even more, the later he goes on in his career and goes on in life and other shit he drops, it speaks to so many people.
Yeah.
And this was almost like the first one that I was like, shit, dude. Like, this dude he's from somewhere else.
Yeah.
He's able to do things that other people haven't done.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And just like on the bonus side, like, they give us Can I Live Too with Bleak. Now, obviously this wasn't on their initial release, I love that song, and I think,
Mm-hmm.
and this is one of the rare times that Jay-Z is out rapped.
Yes.
I'm gonna say it like that. Bleak
Yeah.
murders that song,
Yes.
and I wish that was on a Bleak album instead of them putting it as a bonus on this one. Like, go back, listen. Bleak's verse is flawless.
Yes, he comes with it. He comes with it. And speaking of Jay being on songs and out rapped or out spit, to go back a little bit because we really didn't touch on it, but Brooklyn's Finest.
Yeah.
So when I saw Big was on there, I was like, oh shit. He finna
you know how Big it down.
Because I'm gonna tell you, there's a couple people that if they guest appear on your shit, if they're doing a feature, you're getting outshined. Method Man is one.
Yes.
Big is another.
Yeah.
If Big on your shit, hey, you might want to listen to his shit first, and then you go ahead and do what you do. But on Brooklyn's Finest, I was worried about Hov before listening to it. And then I was like, well, hold on. And speaking of that, I initially didn't really care for Brooklyn's Finest, right? Hear me out. Because the beat. So, again, I was big on Hov because the music behind it. This wasn't that melodic musical shit that I was expecting and wanting and loving from him. So a lot of times I would just, not a lot of times, pretty much all the time, I would skip over. I didn't hate it, but I would skip over. I didn't learn to love that song till freshman year, Wright State. This is why Jimmy Mack is my guy, right? So
don't give him no credit.
me and him, like, Matt got kind of cool, but not super cool. So he was like, "Hey, come by my room. Let's get on the sticks and play the game." I'm like, "All right, cool." So this is back when I used to watch him on the college football. You know what that's like here, right? So I go over to his room in Hawthorne Hall. Go in his room, and a lot of people wasn't playing Hov at the time. They weren't Hov fans. So he puts on music, and he had these big ass like house speakers and this shit. And this shit used to rock. So he puts on Hov. I'm like, oh shit. I didn't say anything, but I'm like, oh shit. Somebody else like Hov, like Jay. So he's playing it, and Brooklyn's Finest comes on. And usually I'm like, skip this shit. But I ain't say shit. So we playing the game. I'm beating the brakes off of him. To the point where I ain't even really got to pay attention. I can listen to the music. And I'm listening. And I'm like, oh shit. And Jay says, time to separate the pros from the cons, the platinum from the bronze, the butter soft shit from the leather on the bonds, a S1 diamond from an I-class dime, a Sean Don sipper from a rose nigga, huh? And Big comes on. Cristal forever. Play the crib when it's mink weather. The Mafia keep cannons and they Mark Buchanan's usually Quattro Cinco. The shell sinks slow, tossing your mad slugs to your nautica. So I listened to it. I'm like, oh shit, they spitting. Now I'm storing it away in my head. And I'm also thinking like, I can fuck with this dude because he likes Jay. So I start listening to the song. And that portion right there, the song, if you pay attention, they do a trick where when Jay spits, he talks about coats, clothes, coats, and liquor. Big picks it up. Liquor, clothes, coats, and clothes. Like he goes. It's almost like bill, boom, 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 you know. And I'm like, oh shit. And that's when I was like, Jay wasn't out rapped on this. He held his own. And I'm like, I can fuck with this. Yeah. You know, so it was one of them things where I'm like, he's more than a rapper.
Yeah.
There's something else up here that makes him deliver things the way he delivers them. It makes you as a listener be able to receive it, be able to receive what he's saying. And that's why I've always felt like when people be like, nah, I don't like Jay, I don't like Hov, I always felt like they wasn't smart. Like those people aren't smart people because they want their music so dumbed down. They don't want to have to think.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to learn. And so I never could understand when people like, I don't like him. And then you be like, why? Man, I don't be trying to hear that shit he talking about. And that's because he ain't no hippity hoppity bippity boppity. You know, he's not doing that shit.
Yeah.
But as far as holding his own, yeah, there's only Bleak did his thing on that. To go back to what you were saying, Bleak did. Bleak shined on that.
Yeah, he came with it. I wonder when that song was recorded. Because I just don't see that song being recorded at that time. Like,
right.
Because you can tell in the youthness, I don't even know if that's a word, but how young Bleak's voice sounded on Coming of Age, and like how grown and mature his voice sounded on Can I Live Too. So I wonder when those were recorded. But we can't do a full Reasonable Doubt review without showing love to Clark Kent, who made the beat Brooklyn's Finest and a lot of production on Reasonable Doubt. I was watching an interview with him before, and he said he came up with the hook for Brooklyn's Finest because once Big and Jay didn't record at the same time. They basically wouldn't record the song at the same time because they didn't want the other one getting a one up on them. Yeah. So like he's like kind of like spliced this song together to their satisfaction, and like they both was like Jay told him like, I'm done for the day. It's like, well, we need a hook. It's like, I ain't got one. You come up with one. So he came up with that hook that you get on Brooklyn's Finest. Obviously, Irv Gotti got some production on there, and Primo and Ski Beats, who did their record.
Hey, Ski. I love Ski for what he did on Dead President. Man, that shit, man, is my favorite hip hop song of all time.
I can see why.
The beat, the lyrics, just everything, dude. And that's enough. Like, I knew I loved my wife when she memorized the first verse of Dead President. I mean, now she probably have a choice because I played it so much, but Ski deserves a lot of love for his work on that album, man. He's not my favorite hip hop producer of all time, but he's produced my favorite hip hop song of all time. And man, it ain't nothing like it, kid. Nothing.
Yeah, man. Another fun fact: the original title was supposed to be called "Heir to the Throne."
Yes.
Yeah. I just found that out doing a quick Google search. Mm-hmm. And the last two questions I got for you, man. Obviously, one is gonna be a yes. Does this album stand the test of time?
Come on, man. Yes. Obviously. Greatest hip hop album of all time. And you know what, Kel? A lot of hip hop albums don't age well.
Right.
And some do, some don't. This one, come on, man.
Yeah, I'll give you a sneak preview. Me and AP, we gonna rewind that Mace Harlem World, cause he swear up and down that shit still bangs. I'm like, I'm telling you, I can feel myself back at the Union right now, nigga. Like, nigga, I think I'm eating fucking double cheeseburgers from Wendy's and going to the Union, nigga. Like, when I think of that shit. So he wants to do the album, we gonna do the album. We gonna rewind that shit. I'm gonna listen to it and we gonna do that. But the question is, bro, is this Jay-Z's best album? Pressure cooker. You got a lot. Now, I mean, when people say Jay-Z, they say Blueprint. They say Black Album. Some people say Volume 3. A lot of people say
Reasonable Doubt. It's Reasonable Doubt. I mean, Blueprint, I think a lot of people love
Some people
Blueprint.
say American Gangster, too.
Now, and I think they're one and the same. And the reason I say that, a lot of people love a lot of people love Blueprint. And I love Blueprint. But I think people love Blueprint for the production more than they do Hov. I love Hov. Like, nigga, love home. Sean Corey is the GOAT. But the star of the Blueprint is the production.
Yeah.
It is the production. I mean, just Kanye, M has production credit for Renegade. You know, so I think Tim has a production credit on there. But it's almost like that's the star of the album.
Yeah.
Even with American Gangster, if you listen to the production on there, shit's amazing. The soul samples, the large instruments, beautiful. Not to say that Jay doesn't shine, don't get me wrong. But if we're talking about everything being perfect, who's the star of the show? Reasonable Doubt, Jay-Z's bars are the star of the show. And they will stand the test of time forever. It's the perfect marriage, perfect beats, perfect bars. And it's his introduction to the world.
You know, for me, I struggle with it. I struggle with this because I'm a huge Black Album fan.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I listen to that album to this day, but I haven't done a deep dive into it. I know I will do one on the pod. But I do get put in a time and place when I listen to that album. But when I listen to Reasonable Doubt, I don't. Like, it's just like, it's telling stories. And these stories don't matter what year it is because those stories are happening today. They're going to happen tomorrow. They happened in the 70s. Like, it's the same shit, different day. So I think it is. I want to say it is. But that Blueprint, yikes. This Black Album, yikes. I'm going to say today, because I've been listening to it nonstop for a week straight, it definitely is. But man, it's gotta be because The Evils is my favorite song. It's gotta be.
So let me ask you, as far as, and this is how I always choose myself. I love the Blueprint. My thing and how I decide is how many memorable bars have I memorized and can stick in my head from the Blueprint as opposed to Reasonable Doubt. And it's like, what line on the Blueprint just says like, oh shit, you know, like has me with that reaction.
Right.
With Reasonable Doubt, it's like, nigga, every song damn near.
Yeah.
Where Blueprint, I get so caught up in the beats. And I think that was like,
it's a good fucking time. Blueprint is good fucking time. Like, you know, if you got a situation happening at the house, you definitely throwing this on before you throw on Reasonable Doubt.
Without a doubt. Because it got a lot of play down in Tampa when it was released. Hillsborough County.
It's a damn good time. I'm just looking at the track list on here.
Yeah.
That's the monster. But like you said, like the production, I mean, shit. It's hard to outshine Jay, but like that is the first thing that comes to mind when you think about the Blueprint is the production.
Yeah, the production. Kanye, I mean, just, you know, I love Kanye's beats. He's one of my favorite. And I feel like the Blueprint was his, hey, watch my work, you know? Yeah. And the same for Just, you know, it introduced us to the soul, you know, the whole sped up soul sample type feel. And it was like, damn, I ain't never heard nothing like this, you know? And I think that's why I love the Heatmakers now, you know, Arsonist from the Heatmakers, who's my personal favorite producer, because of the soul, the heavy instrumentation, you know, but that's what made me love Reasonable Doubt also. The sample, the heavy instrumentation, the melodic beat. So to me, his greatest work is Reasonable Doubt.
No question.
Tuesday, June 25th, 1996.
That's when shit was dropped on them Tuesdays. Nigga, now they drop on Friday. And like, all right, let me go check my streams. Let me see what I got going on. What new drop? That's like, you know, I talk about this a lot to my homie A Dizzle, man, about how different music is consumed today. Like with you got your Spotify's, you got your Apple Musics, you pay your $100 for your subscription for the entire year, and you can listen to anything you want. Anything you
Yeah.
want, that's on there. But it takes a fan of somebody to say, all right, I'm going to blah, blah, blah record store, and I'm going to tangibly give you my money out of my pocket. I'm going to give you this 20, and you're going to give me that tape or CD. And that's all I get. That's the only thing I get. But I give you this $100, and I get the world.
Yes. Yes.
So like, I just, you can't equate people's numbers and their streams, because I listen to shit that I would never buy on Apple Music, because I might as well give it a shot, give it a listen, see what it's about. But
man, get title, man.
Yeah, you right.
Being
right.
Like support Hov.
Right.
Support Hov.
But I got that 3 months free, and then they wrote me in and gave me an extra. You know how the man do. Yeah, I gotta fuck with title. There you go. But shoot, bro, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you jumping on this episode. It's gonna drop on Wednesday. I'm gonna send you the links and everything like that, man. One more time, sir. Mike Wilson, Cincinnati's own 513. Let them know.
Yes, sir. Mike Wilson with my boy Kev, my guy. Pleasure doing this with you, man. Wouldn't want to do it with nobody else, man. Appreciate you, bro.
For sure, bro. Man, y'all be safe down there in H-Town.
You do the same, brother.
Peace.